Sure, and just to note, we are really lucky to have a great developer community who's very engaged and looking to collaborate with us. So Apps for Metro Chicago was really our first partnership with Cook County and the state of Illinois to get folks to build useful applications for our residents that would benefit the city, the county, and the state. We had around 60 apps that were entered for the contest, and many of which won prizes. The contest itself was run by a third party and was funded by the MacArthur Foundation, and some additional awards were funded through some other folks as well, Motorola, IBM. So this is the gallery of apps that were created for the contest. So the contest ran over the course of several months. There were 3 rounds. The first round was a transportation round, the second round a community round, and the final round a grand challenge round. And the idea behind all of those rounds were to encourage the developer community to continue working on apps over time. So as they submitted applications to the contest, they were also provided with feedback on those applications, so they could take that feedback, keep working, and submit again in the final round. So that is one of the goals to creating more sustainable apps and helping really keep folks working. There are also several small prizes, so that we were able to instead of giving one large prize to one application, give out several prizes. And in some cases, some specific to categories. We had a placemaking award that was given out during the community round, for example. So a few of the apps just to highlight. I Find It won the first place in the community round, and is a smartphone app that allows you to find social services nearby. It's a great example too. Recently, that the group that developed that app were invited down by the governor. Originally, their application was Chicago-centric, but they're now expanding that app to cover the state of Illinois. So it's a great use of data from across the various jurisdictions.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've got up on the screen really some screenshots. It's an Android app, Danielle. So I didn't know how to use an emulator to show it live. But it's a great app. Yeah, at first I thought it was an iPhone app, so I thought that was okay. But it's an Android app. It's just a fantastic app that aggregates data from all kinds of sources and presents it in a very user-friendly way, grouped by topics, and it's just a really cool app. But there are more. I mean, every time we talk about apps, you mention 2 or 3 new ones that we never even heard of. So,
Meet Parquet, I think I mentioned there was a placemaking award that was given, and Meet Parquet won the placemaking award during the community round. And this is a smartphone and web app, bilingual, that fosters really community engagement, gets people to voice their opinion about what's going on in their neighborhood. It also allows them to get various alerts about things happening in their neighborhood. And the group that's developed this, since they developed this, have also made the code available via GitHub. So it's now open source and can be picked up and utilized by other communities.
Yeah, and it's an awesome app that really engages people around, ideas. They can vote on initiatives or things that matter in their neighborhood. It's just a fantastic app. There's also more, Danielle. We talked about Sweep Around Us. This is a great app. I've got an address here, and once I enter the address, maybe you can just share with our audience what this app allows people to do.
So in Chicago, we have street sweeping season, and that's between April and November. So on various days of the week, your street will be swept, and you're not allowed to park on that side of the street when this sweeping is scheduled. Previous to this, you really had to pay attention to the signs that were posted very closely, or you could find schedules on the website. But this app allows you to quickly find the schedules for your area and receive text messages or email alerts prior to the street sweeping day so that you remember to move your car.
So there's actually, it's worthwhile spending a minute telling the story about the underlying data. The engineer behind this is a Chicago engineer, Scott Robin, great guy. I met him a while ago. We had a hackathon over at Google last summer, and he comes up to Danielle and I, and he's like, I want to do something like Sweep Roundup. It wasn't named at that point. Can you help me get the street sweeper data? And I really, really like this because it illustrates the before and after of this sort of data policy and data strategy. So Danielle dug up the data, and we took a look at it. And what it was a remarkable thing where someone had in Excel created a calendar and then put the street sweeper schedule within it and then rolled the whole thing into a PDF. Now, it looked good, but from a machine readability perspective, that's not so good. That's going to be a touch challenging. Calendar within Excel rolled into PDF. And what we did was we were then able to port it into both a two-dimensional file and also a spatial layer. And that's how you change the culture, where this is now the new standard. This is what we release, so you can have people like Scott write apps. But when you're getting your data together, it needs to be architected in a way that ensures it's usable. So I really like that example.
Yeah, and our GIS team has done a lot of work making these types of data sets available.
Yeah, and one thing we should mention is that you not only make the data available and have constant dialogue with developers out there about what they need, but you also API enable every data set on your portal, which I know is useful to the developer community out there.
There's a further subtlety, and I don't know if we have any GIS folks listening. It's not okay to just put things out as a shapefile. I like Esri's products. I use ArcGIS. I think that's great, but we shouldn't have the barrier to entry be that. So our policy is when we release shape, we release KML. That way, anyone can download Google Earth. They can get to the data, and it's accessible because, in fact, accessibility matters. So that's consistent with our strategy.
No, that's great, and there's more to come in that area in terms of making GIS data even more accessible to that last constituent you talked about, Fred, your mom and my mom, who can't even open KML and shapefiles and would like to interact with online maps.
Does your mom know my mom?
Well, my mom knows about the City of Chicago's open data portal for sure. So one last app that we'd like to highlight, this was a really remarkable data set that was released about lobbyist data. And another fantastic developer, Derek Eder, Danielle, turned this into a really cool app to explore this data. So maybe we can close this segment on apps by talking about this.
Sure. So we worked with our Board of Ethics to publish lobbyist data sets. So the lobbyist data sets tell you who is a registered lobbyist, what agencies they lobbied, how much they were compensated, if they gave people any gifts in the city. And we worked with the team now called Open City. We had a great collaboration dialogue about the sort of deficiencies of the initial data sets that were related. And we worked to improve those data sets so that they could really make this data more meaningful. For example, we added all the client information to the various data sets, so you could now see not only what agencies they lobbied, but what agencies on behalf of which clients. The site does a great job of giving you that sort of easy overview of what's going on, what's the scorecards of the lobbyists, what people are looking to lobby the city for, it makes it, again, much more understandable, easy to use for those folks who are not skilled at working with tabular data sets like we have on the